Friedrich Nietzsche. Now, there's a name that stirs things up. He was this thinker, so radical, so challenging, that he actually called himself a philosopher with a hammer. And you know what he was doing with that hammer? He was tapping on all the big ideas of his time, listening for the ones that were hollow inside. And boy, did he swing that hammer. He gave us one of the most explosive, maybe even notorious lines in all of philosophy. But here's the thing you've got to understand. This wasn't him celebrating. It was a warning. It was like he was announcing a cultural earthquake, and believe me, we are still feeling the aftershocks. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? That's the question he's shoving in our faces. Okay, so if that ultimate foundation for all our values, for our morality, if that's just gone, what's left? I mean, seriously, what's stopping us from falling into this total abyss where nothing means anything?
So, to really get Nietzsche, you have to shift your perspective. Don't think of him as the guy who caused the building to collapse. Think of him as the doctor who diagnosed the terminal illness. He wasn't popping champagne, he was sounding the alarm. You see, for him, this death of God thing, it wasn't just about people skipping church on Sunday. No, it was way bigger. It was the entire foundation of Western culture, the very bedrock of our morality and our meaning for 2,000 years just crumbling into dust. It's like realizing the ground you've been standing on your whole life is actually quicksand.
So, the big question is, how did we get here? How did our culture get so sick? Well, Nietzsche's approach was fascinating. He basically became a philosophical archaeologist. He said, let's grab a shovel and start digging. Let's find out where these values we hold so dear actually came from. He called his method genealogy. And the idea behind it, whoa, it's a game changer. The big takeaway is that morality, it's not some sacred eternal truth sent down from the heavens. Nope. He says it's a human invention. It's a tool, a piece of technology that certain people created at certain times to get what they wanted. And that's the mic drop moment, right? Because if values are just made up, that means we can question them. We can reevaluate them. And here's the really scary part. It means they can be thrown out and replaced. So, as Nietzsche is doing all this digging, he uncovers something huge. He finds evidence of what he sees as this ancient, epic war. Not a war with swords and shields, but a war of values. A deep, fundamental clash between two totally opposite ways of looking at the world. Okay, so on one side, you've got what he calls master morality. Think of the ancient nobles, the powerful warriors. They look at themselves strong, proud, living life to the fullest, and they say, yeah, this is good. And everything else? The weak, the timid, that's just bad. It's simple. But then everything flips. The powerless, the oppressed, they can't win on the battlefield, so they start a revolution in their minds. They invent a new code. Suddenly, their powerful masters aren't just bad, they're evil. And their own weakness, their pity, their suffering, well, that becomes good. It's a total reversal. And the engine driving this whole moral flip? Nietzsche has a special word for it, ressentiment. It's this deep, simmering resentment. You know, that bottled up anger and envy of the powerless towards the powerful? They can't fight back for real, so that poisonous energy gets creative. It cooks up a whole new moral reality where they're the good guys and the strong are the bad guys. It's basically revenge, but played out in the world of ideas. And Nietzsche himself says it right there. This is where the slave revolt in morality kicks off. And for him, this wasn't just some interesting historical footnote. No, this was the single most important event in all of human history. It was the turning point where, in his view, the values of the weak, the life-denying values, started their long, slow takeover. All right, so that's the diagnosis. And yeah, it's pretty bleak. But Nietzsche wasn't the kind of guy to just point out the problem and walk away. He also offered a prescription, a possible path forward for us, a humanity, basically lost at sea without its old maps. At the very heart of his prescription is this idea, the will to power. Now hold on, it's super important we get this right. This is not about being a dictator or dominating other people. That's a huge misreading. For Nietzsche, the will to power is something much more profound. It's the basic creative energy inside all of life. It's that drive in a Chinese seed to burst through the concrete, the drive in an artist to create, the drive in all of us to grow, to overcome challenges, to become more than we are. So, where is this will to power supposed to lead us? Well, to Nietzsche's ultimate goal for humanity, the Übermensch, or the Overman.
And again, let's be crystal clear. This has nothing to do with a master race. It's a spiritual ideal. The overman is that future person who is so strong, so courageous, that they can look at the chaos and meaninglessness of the universe and not flinch. Instead of falling into despair, they create their own meaning, their own values, right out of thin air.
Now, this path to becoming the overman, it's not a walk in the park. Not at all. It means staring straight into that abyss of meaninglessness we talked about. It means embracing all of life, the good and the terrible. It's a constant battle with yourself, what Nietzsche called self-overcoming. And the final test? It's being able to look back at your whole life, every triumph, every mistake, every ounce of pain, and say with all your heart, yes, I would do it all again. But when you're playing with philosophical dynamite like this, things are going to get messy. Ideas this explosive, with all this talk of power and masters, well, they have a very complicated and, let's be honest, a very dangerous legacy. It's almost like Nietzsche knew this would happen. I mean, the guy didn't write straightforward essays. He wrote in these short, punchy sayings, in metaphors. He loved to hide his meaning behind masks. And the result is that it's just really easy for people to pick and choose what they want to hear and see whatever they want to see in his philosophy. And the result is, well, it's kind of wild. Just take a look at this list of groups who have claimed him as one of their own. I mean, how on earth can the same philosopher be an inspiration for feminists and National Socialists, for Zionists and postmodernists? It's mind-boggling, and it just shows you how powerful and how slippery his ideas really are. Of course, the most famous and most disgusting misreading came from the Nazis. They just went through his books with a highlighter, cherry-picking phrases like will to power to prop up their horrific ideology. But let's set the record straight. The facts show that Nietzsche hated German nationalism. He called it German foolishness, and he was passionately against anti-Semitism. His overman was about spiritual strength, not genetics. So, that brings us right back to where we started, the philosopher with the hammer. He used it to smash the old rules, the old certainties, and he kind of left us standing on the wreckage. But he also left us with a challenge, a question that feels more important right now than ever before. In this world where everything seems to be up for grabs, he's basically asking you, are you just going to be a product of the past, blindly following old rules? Or are you going to find the strength to become a creator, to be one of the people who forges the values of tomorrow?